been.
Where did you dig up that old fossil?
Going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
That's no move.
We're all fine here now, thank you. How are you?
Welcome to the Star Wars Nerds Podcast. I'm Dan Vadabonker.
And I'm Kenton Larson.
It's been a very busy week, Kenton, not only for Star Wars, but for other events in the world as well.
Oh, like what?
Oh, nothing. You know. There may be a little election going on south of the border that we are, and we're not going to talk a lot about it. We're going to maybe save that for an episode of Media Nerds or something. It's not Star Wars related, but it certainly is interesting, and it certainly has been dominating a lot of my media consumption this week for sure. Watching lots of CNN syndrome is what I call it.
Yeah, me too.
And that's just like on nonstop. Although I will say I do like to switch over to the Canadian coverage just for a break.
Yeah.
It's pretty intense when you got all those numbers coming at you. Like it's all about numbers and percentages. I've never seen math reported on so much in the news. But it does kind of get overwhelming. So then I switch over to the Canadian side, and they're a lot like mellower about it. I find it's nice.
What I was going to say about it, let's tie it back into Star Wars here, is I'm ready to topple the Palpatine statue at the end of Return of the Jedi, you know, where you see the statue come down. And then I think we all have to sing the Yub Yub song.
Sure. I'm up for it.
I think that's how this has to end.
Yep. Agreed. And it's interesting because it's not happening as quickly as it happened at the end of Return of the Jedi. It's like boom, like that. They blew up that Death Star, and immediately it all went away. Or I guess we're learning more about that period. Actually,
we are
through the Mandalorian. We know that it wasn't all sunshine and roses for everybody, but yeah, this is certainly taking time for them to determine who wins this election, and so we're just kind of waiting patiently while they figured it out. We did have another episode of The Mandalorian this week. I've just finished watching it. I watched it over my lunch break as per usual, before my 1 o'clock class. So it's nice and fresh in my mind. Should we just get right into it?
Let's see. Is there any other Star Wars metaphor we can draw into the American election? Jar Jar Binks. Who's the Jar Jar Binks, Dan? Who's the person who's making lots of bad decisions, but they're just a moron,
Trump.
And they're enabling. They're enabling the Emperor.
No, I don't know.
They're the deciding vote for the Emperor to declare martial law.
I don't know. It's all a blur right now. I can't think of anybody to single out as far as that stuff goes.
All right, I guess we better talk about The Mandalorian then.
That sounds good. So again, another great episode, shorter episode. We're closer to 30 minutes this time around. So again, we're fluctuating wildly as far as the length goes of these episodes, but
it was 45 minutes, I think, wasn't it?
No, it was like 36
Ooh,
minutes or something like that.
I thought it was 45.
Credits. No, it's including credits. Like I had time to watch it before. Like I was out and I got back after 12 noon, and I still got back in time to watch the whole episode before my class at 1 o'clock. So yeah, definitely shorter. But it picks up right where we left off, where he's like zooming back to Mos Eisley with his speeder bike and the child and his big hunk of meat.
That's Lawrence of Arabia, that scene. Like the classic little thing in the distance and you don't know what it is, and then it gets closer. I love that. Great shot.
Yeah. And then we see these guys. Now there's a group of people who are like looking to ambush them. They do the old string the rope across the. I mean, come on, this is like the oldest trick in the book.
Oldest trick in the book.
Mando fell for it, but whatever. If you're traveling at 800 kilometers an hour, then you're not going to see the rope. But they string up that rope. They knock him off. They clothesline him off of the speeder bike, and then they try to take him down. Now, do you think those guys were there for the child? They said get the child.
It looked like it.
Are they bounty hunters like trying to get the child, or are they just regular everyday
raiders? I was thinking about that later, and I thought they're like the Dukes of Hazzard of Tatooine. Like they're just who knows what who knows what the hell. Yeah. What are they doing there? They got nothing else to do, I guess, but they did appear to be after the child. They did, but
the last guy that survived, so he takes care of all of them except for the one, and he kind of tries to work out a bargain, and the guy takes it. He takes the deal. He's like, I'll take your rocket pack. Give me your rocket pack. Which is also a really, really funny moment where he just sets it off, and then the guy goes flying up, and then the rocket pack comes back to him, and the guy falls to his death. So again, nice little funny segment there.
And did you notice the rocket pack falls like R2-D2 when he's shot by the Jawas in A New Hope. It does the old dunk.
Yeah. And it was
stuff.
great. Like the whole sequence is great, but it shows you how much the child means to him, because he was basically willing to give up the Boba Fett armor. He's like, take whatever you want. He was willing to give up anything to save the child, and he basically said, if you hurt the child, there's nothing that you can do that will stop me from killing you. So those two very good reasons why that guy chose not to kill the child, because he had him at knife point. But it just shows you how much that child means to Mando at this point.
Yeah, there's definitely that going on. There's also I don't know what I wonder if you thought the same thing as me. I thought Boba Fett's chasing him in the first.
Why wouldn't he? Yeah, but if Boba Fett was chasing him, why wouldn't he catch up to him while he's walking through the desert or something like that? Because he had to walk all the way back to Mos Eisley from wherever he was. So
we didn't see if Boba Fett had anything with him or had any
speeder or anything like that.
No, we don't know. We didn't know. So I thought they might just plunge us into something.
I think that's going to come back later in this.
Yeah.
But now that we've already left Tatooine and we're on to a different planet, like that happens later in the episode, I think we're going to come back to Boba Fett, maybe last couple of episodes of the season. So we'll have to wait on that. But he does get back to Mos Eisley. He does go back and speak to. Now, what's Amy Sedaris' name in real? What's her name in the?
On the show?
Yeah.
The problem is I call her Amy Sedaris and then I call her Ripley because she looks like she's dollar store Ripley, where she's kind of like. Rough around the edges Ripley, but I don't know what her name is. Are you looking it up?
I'm looking it up, yeah.
Yeah, please do, because it'd be nice to know her real name. And the problem is you and I started calling her a nickname, and now I can't... I don't know what her real name is on the show, or what her character name is.
Amy Sedaris might have the best comedy cameo in The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
It says after her... It connects to Elf. The actress reteams with Jon Favreau following her role in Elf. What was she in Elf? I don't know what she was.
Well, she was playing. I think she was playing Will Ferrell.
Okay,
she's incredible.
Her name is Peli Motto. Pelimotto.
Oh, her shtick is hilarious.
Yeah. We come across her. We're at like probably the cantina, probably Mos Eisley Cantina. And she's hanging out in the booth with an ant, with a giant ant. I love the creatures. There's so many awesome new creatures in this series. So she's basically sitting there with playing sabacc with a giant ant.
I just thought of something. Was that ant added to the special edition?
I have no idea.
Was he sitting in the cantina in the special edition? It just popped into my head. Or am I thinking of something else from Star Wars?
I don't know.
It might be, but
I feel like that's and whenever I see a monster like that, I feel like it's a nod to like old school like monster movies, like They or Them. Was it Them? Was a classic movie about giant ants, and that's what that feels like. Or in the movie Matinee, there's a movie within the movie called Mant, which is about a man who turns into an ant. And I think about those things when I think about that kind of creature.
I just made a connection. Isn't the director of this episode one of the directors of one of the Ant-Man movies?
Oh, I don't know. Is it?
I think it is. That could be. That could be it.
It
It could be the drum playing ant from Ant-Man.
That's true, eh?
Are you looking it up to see?
I don't know who directed the Ant-Man movie. I don't even know.
Oh, I think. Hang on, give me 2 seconds. Let's just find out who who directed. I can't remember now who directed the episode. I thought and maybe I'm even wrong, but let's see. Peyton Reed.
Oh yeah, he did do
Which one?
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Oh, it's the drumming ant.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Are we the first ones to notice that? Probably not.
Maybe we were.
But that it has to be. It has to be the ant at the drum set.
That's exactly. Just took that.
He brought it in.
Model and then brought it back. Yeah.
He brought it from home.
So she's playing with this ant and she's playing sabacc, and the deal is that he needs to find a Mandalorian. Still needs to find Mandalorians, and he says that he knows where there are some if he backs his bet or something like that, and then he loses the bet. She is an idiot's array, the best hand in sabacc, and then from there they kind of connect him with the salamander lady that again another cool creature design, and looks just like a humanoid salamander or lizard, and he's got to transport her and her eggs to another planet, but they can't use hyperspace. That's the gimmick here. So He's got to travel through real space, and I can't imagine how long. Like again, they don't get into this stuff in Star Wars. They don't get into like distances involved. They don't get into the science behind it or anything like that. But you know that traveling through real space takes time, so there's no real sense of how long this trip is going to take, right? As opposed to like the hyperspace, which is instantaneous. So that's a problem for Mando, is that he's got to travel through space in real time, or in normal time
with a frog lady. With frog lady.
And her eggs, which Baby Yoda finds delicious. And I was wondering what was going to happen with that, because I'm like, oh, maybe because it looks like he looks at the frog eggs, and he's like, oh, there's some kind of connection. Is he sensing the life within? Is he going to help them hatch? What's going to happen here? He's touching it. He's drawing them. You can tell he's using the Force on them a little bit. And then he just starts eating them.
He just wants to eat.
Just a snack for him. All he cares about is eating. So he starts popping those things in.
And they're the last remaining of the species, we find out.
Of the family right. line. It's their last remaining. Yeah, that's right. And her husband is taking great lengths to go to this other planet to set up a home for them and all this other stuff. And then VBO is just eating those eggs like no tomorrow. He eats at least 3 or 4 of them in the episode.
He's a villain in this episode. He's a little demon eating things that he shouldn't be eating.
Yeah. But then Mando comes across these are scenes from the trailer. He comes across kind of a patrol, X-wing patrol. Our good friend, what's his name? Another cameo from what's his name? Why am I
Dave Filoni.
Dave Filoni is the reprising his role as the X-wing pilot, whatever.
And did you recognize the other pilot?
He looks familiar.
Get ready. Are you ready?
Who is it?
He is the owner of CBC's Kim's Convenience.
Oh, it's right.
He is.
Right. Yes, that's right.
I didn't believe it until I looked it up, and I didn't believe it until I looked it up. I was like, yeah, that's him.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Did some work in the American industry there. That's good. Yeah. So that's another Canadian cameo there. That's great. So those two guys, they like kind of pull him over, so to speak, as they would, and they ask him for a transponder. I like the intricacies of this. No, I don't need a transponder because I'm a pre-Empire. Blah blah blah. Like there are a lot. He doesn't need to have that because he's got like grandfathered in rules or something like that because of his ship. And they're like, nope, you need a transponder now because of this. And he's like, oh, okay, thanks for letting me know. And there's all this kind of stuff that happens. So I like that little conversation around the legality of his lack of transponder, whatever that is. That's fun.
Yeah.
Those are little details that I love about this show.
Yeah.
So and then he gets pulled over and then he kind of tries to stall. And again, I love the there's a little bit of this uncertainty there where they don't know what's going to happen, and they figure out that his ship was the one used in the jailbreak from last season, the Bill Burr episode, where he goes in and they realize that his ship was part of that, and then they start chasing them, and that was a great little chase. That was a great little like ship chase, right, through space and then through the atmosphere of the planet.
Oh yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
It reminded me, I like the point of view shots in Star Wars, like on the snow speeders and stuff like that. And there's some great stuff in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gorgeous to look at. The special effects are insane.
Yeah.
Like we couldn't imagine something like that like 10 years ago.
I was watching, as I do, I like to watch TikToks, and there was, quite a few Star Wars TikToks reacting to this, and one girl was like, what do you think the budget was for the episode? Talking about the last week's episode. What was the budget? 50 million? Something like that? It's worth it. Whatever it is, it's worth it. They're like doing it really well. So yeah, he basically gets stranded on this planet because he crashes through the ice.
Before we continue, I have to say I love Mando sleeps on the bottom and Baby Yoda has his tiny little compartment at the top. That was cute, hey?
It's cute, but it's also you can just see the relationship.
Yeah.
Like they have a relationship, and then Baby Yoda keeps trying to scarf down those eggs, and he's like, no, stop it. How many did you eat? Like he's like, please don't eat any more of these eggs. Like he just doesn't understand. So then they crash, and then he's got to repair his ship. And in the middle of all this, the lizard lady who can't speak standard or can't speak English, so to speak, can only speak her own language, figures a way to wire up the killer droid from that same episode, the one that the Death Star droid or whatever you call them from the heist episode last season, and she figures out a way to wire him up. She can use his voice as a translator, I guess. Right? I don't know how she does that, but whatever.
Yeah.
And then she tells them that it's urgent. They have to get out of here. They can't wait any longer. Da da da. Like, I don't know that was really necessary. It was kind of cool.
It was cool.
She did that, but I don't know that we knew. Like, we knew that there was an urgency to this. I don't think we needed to have that conversation necessarily. Maybe because it kind of informs like what she does next when she takes off.
Yeah. At first, I thought there was something weird going on, that she was gonna maybe it was gonna turn out she was after the Mandalorian. She was gonna do something. I was worried.
Yeah, it was all a ruse to get close to the child.
Yeah, I thought she was gonna weaponize the droid, and then it turned out to just be kind of a loudspeaker system, which is it's cool. It's one of those Star Wars things where they throw it in. It's a detail, but it's kind of cool. We've never seen it before. I don't think, have we?
No,
I don't think so. Yeah.
Somebody using a droid like that. So then she does take. So then Mando says fine. He goes out and starts repairing his ship. And then at some point she takes off, and then Baby Yoda comes out and tells them that she takes off. She takes off to go relax in a hot tub, as it turns out, a natural hot spring in this ice planet, which is also, and again, this is where Baby Yoda gets them into trouble because he can't stop eating things. But he goes and after for a third time, he's pushed away from the jar of eggs. He goes off to poke around in all these little pods, and immediately as soon as you see these pods that are in this room, it's like, don't touch those. That's alien right there.
Oh yeah,
don't touch those things. That's like right out of Alien. There's something going to come out of there and crawl after them, and sure enough, it's all these spiders that hatch out of these little pods and come after him, including a giant spider. There's all kinds of different sizes actually, but the giant spider is the one that really gets them. And I think that, I don't know if it's supposed to be the same creature, but there's a very similar creature that you kill in the Jedi Fallen Order game. Do you remember that?
I do.
Yeah, and I'm sure that it's a similar spidery kind of creature that you have to kill on a couple of those planets.
That might be the same one. For all I know, I don't remember what the creature was called.
It's very similar. It's a spider with some tentacles coming out. It's ostensibly a spider.
Right.
So a big chase scene. Again, they get chased down. They get trapped in the cockpit of the Razor Crest. That's the only place that's safe. To get in. It's a big fight. They have to, and again, for a minute there, you don't know that they're going to make it. Like, I really was wondering if we're going to lose somebody. We're going to lose the lizard lady, maybe. I thought, or something like that, or the eggs. But they managed to get through it and burn all the ones away, and then they're trapped in there. And then the two X-wing pilots come to their rescue. So Kim's Convenience and what's his face? I always forget his name.
Dave Filoni.
They come to the rescue, but they don't even they help them, as in they kill the spiders.
Yeah.
But then there's. Watch out. That's okay.
Your son just dropped your cat on you.
Yeah, that's right. He
not unlike little Baby Yoda.
But they don't help them with anything else. They're like, oh, we're gonna drop the charges because our records show that you helped these people or something like that. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, why, if they had that information, why chase him? Like, why go through all that? You know what I mean? Like,
it's the classic, if the cops pull you over, don't run if you don't have anything to hide, because they will chase you.
The reason he ran is because they put their wings in attack position, and they're like, okay, like, do this thing or whatever. And as soon as he assumed that they were going to arrest him because of his connection with the thing. Then they chase after him and say, don't make us do this, all these kinds of things. And then later on they say, oh, by the way, we looked up the full story and we realized that you did a good thing, so we're not going to arrest you, but we're not going to help you either. And they just kind of take off.
I thought that was kind of rude.
Leave them there with a wrecked ship to try and get off this ice planet, in which they could freeze to death. They don't have the proper warm clothes or anything like that. So then, and then that leads to the shot in the, that again, another shot we saw in the trailer, which is the completely battered Razor Crest limping its way across space, right? That's what happened to it to make it into that. And it was in bad shape. Like, it's just barely, you can only seal the cockpit. It's all open and sparking, and it's just not working very well. And I guess he's going to get it repaired when he stops in at the new planet.
Yeah, and it's something just occurred to me as you were telling the story of him being trapped and left by the X-wing fighters. They could have called this episode "Din's Inconvenience."
No, okay, that reminds me. That's his name, right?
Din.
Okay, so and I've noticed that a lot of the blogs and the articles that I'm reading about this show are referring to him by name a lot.
Yeah.
And I still think of him as Mando. I can't. Yeah. I always think of Carl Weathers and his kind of Mando, like that whole thing. That's how I think of him. I can't think of him as Din, whatever his name is. So he's still Mando to me.
And the title of the show is The Mandalorian. They want us to call him Mando. There's no doubt about it. The show would be called The Din.
But I forgot that was the point. I forgot that was his name. Like until all these articles started referring to him as this, I'm like, oh yeah, I completely forgot that was part of it. That we learned his real name in this whole thing. So I know. Anyway, but yeah, that's it. Again, shorter episode than usual. Pretty simple. Not a ton happened as far as the overall story. Just another short little adventure for Mando to grow his bond with Baby Yoda. Maybe make a friend in this lizard lady. I don't know. They seem to be pretty tight now. She helped shoot away some spiders. There was a real moment where that spider's like crawling on Baby Yoda's head.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, they're gonna get. Or actually, what I thought was they're gonna Baby Yoda is gonna push them away or something. Yeah. Like really, he's not helpless, right? Like he can use the Force. So I don't know. We'll see.
I think the cuteness factor for Baby Yoda went up. In today's episode, they kind of ignored him a bit on the season premiere.
The shot of him looking through the glass, kind of pressing his face up against the glass of the egg thing, like that whole thing.
That's great.
Very cute.
Cuteness went up. His menacing, his little Dennis the Menace style. I'm eating stuff I shouldn't be eating. Went up a notch. And the Baby Yoda danger scale. I guess we should have like a thermometer or something that shows how dangerous.
How much danger did Baby Yoda get into? And the other thing is we got to see him moving around more than we've ever, like scurrying around the way he walks and that kind of stuff. We haven't really seen much of that because usually we see him and he's like in one place and all of a sudden he's in another place. We don't actually see him move from place to place. We saw him a little more scurrying around in this episode. So
it's great, and I loved all of the Baby Yoda stuff. And I love that we saw the rebellion, or the pilots.
New Republic, though they said New Republic, though, right? They did say that. So
sorry, I keep calling them rebellion because, of course, the second Death Star was referred to even on the first episode, and they just look like they could have been Luke's buddies.
Oh yeah,
or whatever, and that's what's great about it. And who knows? The other thing I kept thinking was if they would have seen little Baby Yoda, something might have changed. They might have recognized him as looking like Jedi Master Yoda.
Yeah. And here's another thing. If, in that exchange, when he's talking to those X-Wing pilots and he says, "May the Force be with you," like he says that to them and they say, "And also with you." I mean, if he knows that that's a greeting, that's a standard kind of greeting or farewell, whatever in this universe, then how does he not know about the Jedi and Yoda and all that stuff?
Well, I assume that he knows what he needs to know to get out of trouble. And the way to get the way to get rid of the rebellion is to go, "May the Force be with you. I'm out of here." Like it's like the equivalent of Happy New Year or something. And next thing you know, you're not in the party anymore.
Well, it's like how Finn uses it in The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Right. Where he's like, "May the Force be with you." He's like that means go away. Like that's what he's thinking about it, right?
That's right.
Sure. Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah. That's what they'll say to Donald Trump on his way out of the White House. "May the Force be with you. Good luck. We wish you the best. All the best of luck in your future endeavors."
That's right.
Like that's something like that they'll say.
Yeah, that's what "May the Force be with you."
Yeah, but I there's so much in that episode that I really enjoyed. It's such and the only thing I didn't enjoy is what you just pointed out, which is I hate seeing Baby Yoda in danger. It feels
nerve-wracking. Yeah. It's very nerve-wracking.
Totally fills me with it's anxiety provoking. It drives me crazy because the last thing I want is for this thing to be, although today I did think, okay, he's going to be okay. We're going to hand him off somewhere. But I just had a weird feeling when he was looking at the eggs floating around in the tank. Yeah. It was like, could he be Yoda clone? Is that where this is going?
I don't know. I mean, again, this kind of takes us into the whole, like, how does the cloning work? Because the cloning we know that the clone they can grow the clones to adulthood, as they did with all the clones in the prequels. But we also know they can create a clone and make him and have him grow up naturally. Like Boba Fett is a clone, right, of Jango Fett, but he raised him naturally like a son. So this could be a clone of Yoda that was just like born and then not artificially aged or whatever they did.
Do you think we're going to see that clone doctor again from
No.
season 1? Is he? Is
No.
he? No.
Oh, the guy from the guy who's on the Empire, like with
He was with Werner Herzog, but
no.
And he was sort of like, he made the claim he was protecting the child, a sort of dubious claim. But
Yeah, I don't think so. I think that's a little minor character. Again, I mean, we have no idea where this is going. Like, he's still got to get to this planet and find these so-called Mandalorians.
Yeah.
Last time it didn't turn out to be Mandalorian, so what's it going to be this time? We don't know
Yeah.
that they're actually Mandalorians or what's going to happen. So, again, really great kind of storytelling. I think
Yeah.
it's like piecing out a little bit at a time, but still enjoyable. And I liked it. It was a fun episode.
And one thing we didn't mention, the frog hopping away was great.
Oh yeah, that was good too.
The hopping.
See, that tells me that she was a frog lady. Like, I know
Yeah.
that I thought she looked kind of like a salamander, but they're similar. And she was, when she moved, when they were running away from those spiders, and she moved really quickly, that was absolutely the frog.
Sorry, lady, I don't understand frog.
Have you seen the new Baby Yoda doll that's available? That's going to be available?
I've seen pictures of it. I've not seen it in real life, but it looks super cool.
I saw a fun little video with Pedro Pascal out of makeup, out of costume, of course, and he was holding it, and he's like, and he'd never seen it before, and he's like, oh, what do I do this? And he touches it on the head, and if you touch it on his head, it kind of goes, ooh, cuckoo. It's like an animatronic Baby Yoda, and it makes noises, and it moves his eyes and everything, and he's like, oh, like he couldn't. It was so cute. He just loved it. So that is going to be the hot item for this holiday season. For the Star Wars fan in your life, get them an animatronic Baby Yoda doll. I think they're like $80, I want to say, which doesn't seem to be too for something like that. That feels like an okay price. I don't think it's too expensive.
No, that seems okay. I mean, that BB-8. Remember the first BB-8 came out, all that stuff. It was also expensive.
Yeah.
And I still think they were slow on the uptake with the Baby Yoda merch. I don't think they should have spoiled season 1 of The Mandalorian with it, but it sure came. It came like almost a year after the season 1 aired. I think if they would have been a little faster with it, like maybe 3 months after the season 1 aired, I think they probably would have moved a truckload of that stuff.
Oh yeah, probably, yeah, for sure. Speaking of Star Wars products, I've been playing a little bit more of Star Wars Squadrons.
Ooh,
I have an updated review, as in that I do not like it as much as I did at the outset. And this is the reason was that I didn't. Now I realize now I did not play it enough at my first kind of sit down session with it, because when I sat down the second time to play it, I realized that I was still in like the opening. I hadn't even finished the opening mission yet. I thought there were all these different parts to it. I'm like, oh, okay, this is the mission 1, mission 2, mission 3. No, this is all part of the same opening thing. I finish it, and then I finally get the opening like title of the game. Like, oh, this was all meant to be the prelude to the opening of the game.
Oh,
like,
my
geez,
God.
what's going on here? So then now I understand what you're talking to about when we get into the story section of this, in that it is absolutely designed to be a VR game. Because you get into, like, once you're done the opening thing, the title comes up, then you meet the other members of your squad, and that's kind of cool. Like, you have all these different characters who are members of your squad. You're on this X-Wing squad, and all these different kind of people, different aliens and that kind of stuff. But then, like, there's parts of the game where you're just sitting there talking to them, and all you can do in these situations is look around. Like, all I can do is, like, use the controller to, like, look up, look down, look around. I'm like, well, that's meant for, like, it's a VR game, because in VR half your time is spent going, what? Oh, cool. And you're like looking around at all the room around you, because it's such a cool experience. So that's what you do in these scenes. I continue to be frustrated by the controls and by the gameplay. Like, I'm just not getting the hang of this flying these things. It's really difficult for me. Like, the mission I'm on right now that I'm stuck on is that all I have to do is blow up some freaking shuttles. Some like Imperial shuttles. I have to blow them up before they get to the Star Destroyer, and I can't. The targeting system is messed up. I can't figure it out, and I always miss one of them. So it's like, because you have a time frame, you have a time limit, and if you don't blow them all up within a certain time, then they get there, and then you lose the level. So I'm frustrated by that. And I was talking to somebody on Games You Deserve. On my other podcast, I was talking to a guy who also was playing a lot of this, but he was playing it in VR, and he said that VR really helps you, because as you're flying, if the guy flies by you, you can look up and keep your eye on him while you it's like, it's more realistic. So you can steer the X-Wing to go after them while you're still looking at them, and I can't do that in this situation, so it is frustrating. So I don't like the fact that they took a VR game and then they just basically ported it to the Xbox. Like, they didn't, it was always meant to be a VR game, and now I'm just playing it on an Xbox.
That's what I've heard. The 2 negative comments that I told you about before, that's what I heard. That's exactly the complaint that I heard. That it seems somehow it's almost like you're being restricted from enjoying the game.
Yeah, and I would say that, and at first I thought, oh, this is kind of neat, because at first they show like a shot of the hangar, and they have a person talking to you, and I'm like, oh, it did feel a little bit like a Wing Commander game. Like you know how they have the cutscenes with Mark Hamill where he sits there and he talks to you. That's what's happening in the game. A lot of people sitting there and talking to you, but I'm like, after that, then it moves into this part where you're talking to these people one-on-one, and again, you can't do anything other than sit there and look around. So it is frustrating. I don't know if I'm going to finish it. And now my big regret is that I didn't buy the actual disc. I downloaded it, so but my regret is I didn't buy the disc because I now I can't lend it to you. I would, if I bought the disc, I would have given it to you and so you could try it, but I didn't do that. I just downloaded it. So future reference, I'm gonna make sure I buy the actual physical discs of all this stuff so that you can play it. It's
funny that you mentioned that because I have a free, I don't know, I can't remember where I got it. I have some free time on the Xbox Live, Xbox something, I don't know. And I was like, I'm never going to use this, so I was going to give it to you. Oh, but I don't know where the hell it is. It's here. It's all here somewhere. But it's like, when will we go to school again, Dan? Like, never. Maybe never.
All right, last thing I want to talk about today before we wrap up the podcast, they released the trailer for the Star Wars Lego Holiday Special, and I want to play it for us so you can react to it. I didn't watch it last night. I caught it. It was, I don't know when it was released, but I caught it before I went to bed last night. So here it is, and then let's talk about it after we watch this trailer.
'Twas the night before Life Day in a galaxy far, far away.
Looking good. Tree, food, decorations.
Coming together heroes were to celebrate the day.
Please be a cape. Please be a cape.
It's a wrap! For Rey, adventure called, and she thought it would be fast.
Wow.
But there she found a key to the galaxy's past.
Sorry. Oh, Master Luke, what are you doing? This is so cool! We've seen my master. My master's master.
Concentrate.
My master's father.
Impressive.
My master's father's master.
Emperor Palpatine? I don't believe it! You think maybe you could put a shirt on?
It's a key to travel across space and time.
I will change the future.
So sure are you?
Mm-hmm. Less talky, more fighty.
Pod races.
Jigs! Oh, double jigs!
Oh. So cute.
Ooh, gimme! Galaxy's best emperor. Meh!
You thinking what I'm thinking?
Music!
A time of joy. This is
Ray!
a friendship, a family.
Who are you guys? Master Skywalker.
My son. These binary sons.
Junta solos?
You want to shoot first? After you.
All right, what do you think of that?
Oh, funny. Predictably funny. Making lots of in-jokes about, oh, hey, there's my head on your screen.
Oh, sorry. I know that's distracting for you. Okay.
What's distracting is knowing that you have to stare at my bald head for the whole podcast.
I'm not even looking at it. But yeah, in true Lego Star Wars fashion, they can have fun with it. They don't need to stick to any specific canon. They can do what they want. This is what it's always been like for Star Wars Lego. And I will add that it is the voice of Darth Vader is Matt Sloan, who we've had on the podcast before and is part of Blame Society Films. He was here for FanQuest in 2017, and he's been doing the voice of Darth Vader for cartoons and video games for pretty much, I don't know, the last 15 years or so. Like ever since they did their Chad Vader series on YouTube, he's had that job of being kind of the understudy for James Earl Jones. When it's not big enough for James Earl Jones, he'll do it, including episodes of Rebels. He did tell me that even though James Earl Jones got the credit in Rebels, he said that he did that voice. So I don't know how that works.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. Anyway,
and you know how Dave Prowse used to, and I've got his autograph just like on the other side of this room. And he always signed Dave Prowse is Darth Vader, like he had an axe to grind. Like he's like, it's me. Yeah, I'm Darth Vader, just so you know.
Yeah.
What he should do, what your friend should do, is he should put Matt Sloan is really Darth Vader. Like he should sign the autograph.
Although
and
he's kind of not. He's kind of like the third Darth Vader.
Right, but probably he's not. I'm guessing he's probably not allowed to go farm it out. There's probably
not. No.
Yeah, there's probably some kind of something.
Although he did do it for the Daily Show as well. Yeah. On the very final episode of the Daily Show with Jon Stewart, they had a thing where they interviewed the Dark Lord of the Sith, Darth Vader, and it was Matt doing that voice as well. So
great.
Anyway, great to get if you can be the voice of Darth Vader. But yeah, lots of fun. So it looks like it's a time travel kind of story. So Rey gets a time traveling crystal and goes back through all the different Star Wars eras. And we get prequel era, we get original trilogy era, we have the new sequel era, all mixed together. Looks like a lot of fun.
It's Back to the Future.
Yeah, with Star Wars.
At some point, she's backstage. At some point, Rey's backstage, and Chuck Berry does the duck walk, and she takes it back with her. Oh, I don't know. She takes it.
It does look like fun, and it does look like they're poking fun at themselves. There's a lot of jokes about shooting first and that kind of stuff. So again, it looks like a lot of fun. I'm kind of looking forward to it. It's next week. It's gonna be next week, I believe.
Old Han, young Han.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it.
Love it.
All right, well, that's gonna do it for this episode of Star Wars Nerds. I'm Dan Vadabunker.
I'm Kenta Larson. Don't let the Force hit you in the ass.
I'm taking an awful risk, Vader. This had better work.
Where did you dig up that old fossil?
That's no move.